Imagine the year is 1983, and you just finished watching Star Wars Return of the Jedi. The greatest movie trilogy of that time period has just ended, and you begin to wonder to yourself, what could come next for the heroes of the Star Wars? Will they go on to do great things? Will they bring forth an era of peace and justice and security to the galaxy? Or will they all three fail and die in embarrassing ways as retarded derivatives of Boba Fett, Yoda, and the action figures of Dave Filoni are smashed together in a mishmash of 2 episodes of a dead TV show that have been stitched together and presented as something professional? I'll let you decide. So the official synopsis of Mongoloid and Grogu is: the evil empire has fallen, but imperial warlords remain scattered throughout the galaxy. As the fledgling New Republic works to protect everything that the rebellion fought for, they enlist the help of legendary Mandalorian bounty hunter Din Djarin and his young apprentice Grogu. So all of that is completely false. Din Djarin has a deck of cards for some reason with these warlords on them, and this random colonel, played by Sigourney Weaver, is sending this self-proclaimed Mando on missions to find them. And Din Djarin is not legendary at all. He only appeared on the scene like 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and there is no way he could have gained that kind of legendary status in that short of time. I'm not going to sit here and say that Mundungus and Grindelwald is the worst movie ever, because it's not. It's very dumb, just like Season 3 of the show it comes from, and most of the dialogue is so bland and poorly written that it actually makes my teeth hurt. While the movie doesn't have Jack Black or Lizzo levels of stupidity, it does have some logical gaps that left me facepalming. For example, Mando is captured at one point and brought before a pair of Hutts who are upset with him because he didn't finish a job. Instead of removing all his armor before feeding him to their version of a Rancor, which for some reason all Hutts have a pit in front of their little throne where they can throw people they don't like into, they leave all his armor on, and they even give his helmet back to him so he can fight with the big white snake thing that's in the pit. One thing I did notice about this movie is that it seems to be completely cut off from everything associated with Star Wars, and it has no real ties to anything that comes before or takes place after in that timeline. You don't need to have watched the TV show to understand anything. You don't need to have seen the original trilogy or the prequels to make sense of the setting. And you barely need to know anything about anyone in the movie either, as everyone is either a new character that is introduced in this movie for the first time, or one that has no character arc or journey that leads them to being any different from the way they started off or the last time you saw them. For example, Zeb from Star Wars Rebels is in this, but he could easily be replaced with literally anybody, as his presence in this is merely just Dave Filoni wanting to shoehorn in yet another one of his characters into something. And while it's kinda neat to have Sigourney Weaver in a Star Wars now, she barely does anything other than sit and talk, or pilot an X-Wing and talk, or walk from an X-Wing to someone and talk. And you can't tell me that she will draw in people to come see this movie just by name alone. It also just kind of ends unceremoniously too, where the good guys are alive, the bad guys are dead, and other than that, really nothing of note happens. There are no real stakes, no one was ever in any real kind of danger, and everything goes back to the way it was at the end of Season 3, with Mandibles and Grinch just kind of hanging out. Now, I will say I did kind of like some of the action, even if it was almost exclusively not a challenge or dangerous for Mango to go through, as he had plot armor when the show forgets that he has literal armor. But some of the fighting made me think of Season 1, where he seemed like a shoot first, ask questions later bounty hunter and not a nutless babysitter. Speaking of the baby, Grogu doesn't work. He just doesn't. Full stop. The writers treat him like a literal baby in most scenes, but will heel turn and have him show true comprehension of complex ideas like camouflage and fighting and building structures. Apparently he's a Mandalorian apprentice now in some way, and I don't think the writers know what to do with that or what that even means. So in the movie, he's both a baby who needs his diaper changed and a 58-year-old man who can file his taxes. I think the problem stems from the fact that the current owners of Star Wars, they don't understand what made the originals and the prequels good. They don't understand how to make good fight scenes, they don't understand the lore, and they don't understand why Star Wars was special before they took over. I would almost warrant to say that they're not even real filmmakers, but rather people who want to copy off of George Lucas's homework because they don't actually know how to create their own thing. And they know that no one would watch what they did make if it didn't have the Star Wars brand name on it, just like Alex Kurtzman and the people who've been ruining Star Trek for the past several years. It's been said that anything that has been ruined by showrunners or executives or writers of media can be classified as OLF, or officially licensed fan fiction. And I think Mango and Grok falls into that category, along with everything that has been made by Disney ever since they bought Star Wars from Lucas back in 2012, and everything since 2008 when Alex Kurtzman took over Star Trek. So, to sum up, Morgoth and Goku is bad. But it's not so bad that its very existence causes harm to the overall brand, unlike the sequel trilogy, the Acolyte, the Obi-Wan show, and the entirety of the High Republic nonsense. If I had to give Mongoose and Gerd a score from 1 to 10, with 1 meaning that it should be cast into the fires of Mount Doom, and 10 meaning that it gets to leave from the Grey Havens to sail towards Valinor, I'd give Mandolin and Gringo a 4, meaning you could take your kids to it, but they may get bored, and you should bring a pillow, because you definitely will be. That being said, live long, and Qapla'. He only appeared on the side of